Should NAR's clear cooperation policy be repealed? Should it go away, Gary?
That's a really interesting question because, Chris, you and I were recently at an industry event,
Hmm.
Inman, in Austin. And Brad Inman asked the entire audience, "Do you think clear cooperation should go away?" And everybody's like, "Yeah, get rid of it. Yay." And then he goes, "Okay, that was pretty clear. But let me ask, who here wants clear cooperation to stay?" And this is what you could hear.
Well, and then he turned to the leaders, industry leaders, CEOs who are on the
These are
stage,
broker owners, these are large
right?
brokers. Yeah,
And a few national folks were represented there. And in their case, each one of them said, no, we need to keep it. And so
right.
why the difference between the agent population
Huge
wanting
disparity.
to get rid of
Yep.
it and the leadership, right? Why does leadership want it, but then the membership does not, or the the people in the field don't? I think this is kind of an
Yeah.
interesting thing to explore. You know, there's a reason why it exists. Many people, if you don't know what the clear cooperation policy is, this is a policy created by the National Association of Realtors, and basically what it says, and this was implemented in, was it 2020 is when it went into effect,
Correct.
and basically what it
Yep.
says is within 1 day of taking a listing, that it has to be entered into the MLS, right?
Actually, that's not what it says, Chris. What it says is that within 1 day of marketing to the
Mm.
public, I must put my listings in the MLS. And so you might be asking, like, well, what does
Hmm.
that mean? Well, within 1 day of me putting a sign in the yard, hosting an open house, putting it on social
Hmm.
media, putting it on my website, any way that I am marketing this listing
Hmm.
publicly, I must put it in the MLS. So, what does this mean? So, as a listing agent, I can no longer take pocket
Hmm.
listings and market them publicly. But does that mean that I can market them
Hmm.
privately? Does that mean that if I'm a member of a private real estate group, can I market this
Mm.
privately? But the big thing here is there's no more pocket
Mhm.
listings. I can't go out there and say, I am going to have this pocket listing. I'm going to market it publicly. I'm going to put my sign in the yard, but I'm not putting in the MLS.
Mhm.
Cannot do that any longer. Now, you might ask yourself, well, what does that do about coming
Mhm.
soon? Well, coming soon is marketed privately within the MLS. So you can still have coming soon
I
listings
see.
per the requirements of your MLS without having to put this into the MLS
Mhm.
publicly. So that's the big difference. But the big thing here is no more pocket
Mhm.
listings. And so I can speak from the agent
Mhm.
perspective, Chris, as to why I don't want clear
Mhm.
cooperation. So when I'm working with some clients and they just want to have their luxury listing marketed
Mhm.
quietly to select buyers on select mediums, I mean, I'm supposed to work for my client and do what's in their best interest. And if they believe that their best interest is to just quietly market this, they just want to
Mhm.
dabble out there and see if there are some buyers for their home, why
Mhm.
can't I do that?
Well, I guess
Why
yeah.
must I go out and publicly broadcast this to everybody?
I guess the counter argument is like basically fair housing, right? Like is being able to make sure that all the homes are available. But I think that's where that seems to be where the two things come to a head is like, all right, is this a fair housing issue or is this the seller's right to have it marketed the way they want issue? I think a lot of
Well, also, I think there's also an additional thing
mm,
there, Chris, and that is this in the best interest of the
mm,
client? And one might argue, and I would also take the other side of the
mhm,
fence on this, and I would argue, no, it's not in the best interest of a seller for me to take a pocket
mhm,
listing. It's actually in the very best interest of a seller if their true intention is to sell their
mhm,
home. The best option is to market this to the greatest number of potential
mhm,
buyers to get them the greatest amount of exposure in order to draw the buyers into the home and get the most exposure, most interest, and most potential offers and highest and best. And so So I can see both sides
Right,
of the fence. It's like, if my seller wants me to do this, why can't
right.
I? But then they might also not understand that that is not in their best
But
interest.
and it seems like, I've heard many, arguments from both sides, and it can get kinda ugly. People will say, "Well, people in real estate, they're greedy. They're just trying to work both ends of the deal." Other people say, "Hey,
Mhm.
this is something that the big brokers are really in favor of because, an exclusive listing, they can probably get sold within their firm, and so it's an advantage to
Sure.
the bigger brokerages and a disadvantage to the smaller ones." I don't and a lot of people say, "Well, it's there, but it's not perfect and should be revised instead of just gotten rid of." And so I guess the question, and guys, drop a comment here. Let us know. Do you think that clear co-op should stay, or should it go, or should it be refined?
And
Yeah, and
why?
why do you think so?
I mean, there's so many different reasons to why we should have clear cooperations, and there's so many reasons why we shouldn't. But you may have a different perspective that we haven't thought of. Comment down below. Let us know what's on your mind. Have you talked to your sellers about clear cooperation? Do they even care? So let us know because we're interested. We're always creating more and better content for everybody out there to understand the nuances of this residential real estate business that we have here now in 2024.
Yeah. So if you got an opinion, we want to hear it. We want to read it. Try to be kind in those comments down there. I've noticed this is kind of one of those conversations that people can beat each other up. Please be kind,
Well, it's a hot
but let
topic.
us
It is a
know.
hot
Clear
topic.
co-op, should it stay or should it go? We'll see you in the next episode.